assignment, we will take a look at the effects video games have on the behavior of children. The study we examine is experimental study of differential effects of playing versus watching violent video games on children's aggressive behavior.
The study observed the differential effects of actively planning versus passively watching the same violent video games on subsequent aggressive behavior.
The methods of the study was a randomized block, 3-group between subjects experiment with game condition as the independent variable and aggressive behavior as the dependent variable.
The study also gathered information in a questionnaire format. Families were given a question, like the frequency of gaming, and were told to answer the question on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being almost never, and 5 being daily to multiple times during that day. Another 1 being the familiarity of the game with a 3-point scale, 1 which was almost never, and 3 being often.
The results of the study found that playing a violent video game caused boys to assert more aggressive behavior than just simply watching the same violent video game. Active participation of playing a violent video game made boys behave aggressively more frequently than passively watching violent.
The study did not, however, find the same results as girls who played violent video games.
The study discussed that video games might give rise to any pre-existing behavior, and that when a child played a violent video game, it activated this pre-existing violent desire.
The phenomenon seemed to be more specific towards boys than girls.
We will now go out and ask IRC students what they think about violent video games and what effects they have on children. We're here with
Ella.
Alright, Ella. So there was a study about the influence of violent video games on boys and girls. They found that boys were more likely to show aggressive behavior than girls. After playing violent video games, why do you think that is?
I think that is because boys are grown up to have a more dangerous nature, so I think they take on a lot more of the violence in video games and accept it as normal. Like testosterone, yeah. Absolutely.
Alright, so do you think you would show aggressive behavior after playing a violent video game?
Some form, I don't think as much as boys would.
Not as much as boys?
No.
Alright. Do you think intense action games influence violent behavior in general population?
Yeah, I think so.
How so?
I think it just creates a norm. It makes it look like it's okay to, someone is walking in the street and they're going to steal your bag to, kill them.
Alright, cool. Well, there you have it. Alright, we're here with
Josh Perry.
Alright, Josh, what do you think of young kids playing violent games?
I think that it is allowed and appropriate, but just nothing too violent and gory.
Alright, so do you think it depends on the rating of the game?
Yes.
How much violence it
I
executes?
think it's, some can stick to limits and boundaries and some push it a bit. I'd say no to the ones that push it.
Okay, so if you were, say, a father and you saw your child playing something like GTA, would you allow that?
Depends how young my kid is, but probably not if they're a young age.
Okay. Next question. Do you think boys are more likely to be aggressive after playing intense video games than girls? If so, why?
Yes, because boys will get a dopamine rush when they shoot a gun or something like that.
Question. Do you think there is a difference between playing a violent video game, or watching a violent video game?
Yes, because if I was playing Call of Duty per se, if I was watching someone shoot someone else, I wouldn't really care, it wouldn't affect me. But if I hit a nice snipe on someone, I'll be like, damn, that was sick.
Alright, cool. There you have it. We're here with
Ashlyn.
Alright, Ashlyn. There was a study about the influence of violent video games on boys and girls. They found that boys were more likely to show aggressive behavior than girls after playing violent video games. Why do you think that is?
It's because children and boys and girls are exposed to, or boys are exposed to more violent things at a younger age and more video games at a younger age.
Okay. Do you think if you were to play a violent video game that you would show aggressive behavior afterwards?
No, because it's a video game.
You don't think that has to do anything with aggressive behavior?
Well, not personally for me because I'm not an aggressive person.
Okay. What about someone else that you know? Do you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. But it just depends on the person and depends what they've been exposed to as a kid.
Okay. Third question. Do you think that intense action games influence violent behavior?
100%.
And do you think it depends on the rating of the game?
Well, most games have like death and destruction and like violent weapons, so I don't really think it depends. Like if it's a violent video game, it's gonna have like you're gonna have violent tendencies after, most likely.
Okay. And if you had a kid and you saw him or her playing GTA, like, you know what GTA is? Okay, that's pretty violent.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Do you
aggressive.
think you would allow them to play that?
No, I'm not. No, because I'm not letting my kids be exposed to that kind of technology until at least like 10 or 12. For
What about like a less intensity?
Yeah, like something that's like fun for them to play, but not something that has a lot of like destruction and death and like very inappropriate things for that, like below the age of like, if they're like playing it like 8 years old, that's like really inappropriate.
Alright, cool. Thank you, Ashley.
Breaking news. Children starting in elementary school going all the way up to high schools have been shown to be more aggressive when they play violent video games rather than when they don't. According to a journal article written by the Southern Economic Association, violent video games can increase aggression, but the Quay experimental methodology the SEA performed showed that they didn't increase crime or fighting. In schools today, fights are very common, but there is a multitude of different reasons as to why a child can be aggressive. We cannot always make the assumption that they play violent video games. As the journal article says, violent games can lead to more aggressive children, but not always.
Alright.
Alrighty.
We're here with...
Hi, my name is Kyle Grancy.
Would you consider yourself to be a regular gamer?
So I would consider myself to be a regular gamer. Not so much now that I'm in school, but I used to play a lot of video games, so sure.
Alright, cool. If so, do you think violent video games have an effect on behavior?
So I don't think that violent video games have an effect on behavior because the video game isn't necessarily real life. So I don't think it could actually create someone to become like extremely violent, and maybe in like a unique case where someone isn't necessarily completely normal, maybe it could affect them, but for the most part, I don't think so.
Alright. Well, going off of that, do you know anyone who plays a lot of video games and expresses violent behavior?
So not personally, but